Alright, good morning to everybody. It's a cold morning here, and I think I have a little bit of a cold myself. I'm going to talk about the Mini Maxx and the DPF delete for the 6.7 liter Cummins. My vehicle here is a 2008 Dodge 6.7 Cummins, 6-speed manual transmission, and about 89,000 miles. Okay. Depending on which one you get, whether it's the Mini Maxx or the Black Maxx, they basically install the same thing, just a bigger head unit. You have a couple options as far as what you want to do with it and what you want it to do for you. Okay, I have the Mini Maxx here. Relatively simple installation. The Black Maxx is the same. I looked at the instructions online. You got a few things come with it. Suction cup mount. It goes right there to the windshield, and then you got the head unit, and this is the HDMI cable that plugs into the back. There's an SD card on the back side of it that you can take out, and they have a micro card reader you can hook up to your computer, and if you want all those really cool tunes and stuff like that, you can use it in that way if you want or not. Just it's your choice. It comes with like a box that comes with Velcro. And what I did with the HDMI cable here is I just routed it down, pulled the weather stripping back here, and I routed it down, so it won't get pinched by the door or nothing like that. Under here, and then they give you a couple cable ties to use, and here's your OBD2 plug coming from the box. And I had the box hit up under here. I got it Velcroed up under here. Pretty easy installation. Now, there is a power wire that you can use. It comes with the kit, and H&S, I talked to them and reading the owner's manual, you don't have to install it if you don't want to, but you might as well do it because it's real simple. The wire will come out from the cab. I got a few wires in there anyway, but it'll come out through the cab, and here's where it'll go, right here to your fuse box. Now you can open up the fuse box. Just pull this back just a little bit so you can get it open. And that spade you see right there, that's what comes with it. Comes with that. There's the wire coming in the fuse box, and then you use that fuse right there. On the 5.9 Cummins, 3rd gen, and these 3rd gen 6.7s, you'll use that blue fuse right there. They got pictures for you to see. Basically, you just slip the little metal spade over the leg of the fuse, pop the fuse back in, and then slip your you use like some wire crimpers here, crimp that wire in. It's already pre-cut for you to do it with it anyway. Just slip that right over top of it and close it back down. Now, if you're worried about the batteries being disconnected, it's not a 12-volt constant plug, so you don't have to worry about it. I didn't disconnect my batteries because I was interested in saving time. But that installation right there took about 20 minutes. It's real painless. You don't have to do much. Once you install it, you got one of two options that you can do when you're running non-deleted. Your first option is going to be, let me close my fuse box here. Your first option will be to use it kind of like an edge insight, whereas it's just a monitor for your gauges. Okay. And that's all it does. It doesn't do anything else. The second thing is you can use it as a non-deleted tuner. I tried it out. I've tried on the mild and the hot setting, or the mild and wild setting. I mean, it's a little bit noticeable, but honestly, your EGTs go pretty high, and it's not really. I don't know. It's not really that good of a deal. You might as well just cut it off because you're not going to get any MPG gains, and the power that you do gain will be offset by the amount of soot you're plugging your filter with. But with that being said, when you do install it, it takes it about 10 minutes or so to program your truck when you do it. So, when you're going to do it, make sure you have a little bit of time to sit there and do nothing. It's kind of like the Smarty, probably a little bit faster than the Smarty, but it takes you a little bit of time. Now, if you're planning on deleting in the near future, when I say near future, I mean right after you install it, not moving the truck anywhere, then go ahead and load it up with the DPF remove tuning. It'll just save you time later on, okay? Because once you unplug those sensors, it'll start throwing all kinds of check engine lights, and if you haven't got the DPF remove tuning in there, it may cause you some problems. Now, one of the things you have to do per the owner's manual when using the DPF delete tuning is you can either remove your EGR or you can unplug it. I chose that it's not really that big of a deal, and I didn't have the time, and my knuckles were hurting pretty bad after doing the pipe. So one of the things you may want to consider is just unplugging it for the time being and seeing how you like it. All right, you got two plugs here. Now the owner's manual is going to show you this. One is this one. It plugs in here on the front, and then the other one that I can't show you because it's on the underneath is underneath this thing here. It'll tell you what it looks like in the owner's manual, and a little bit later when I go over the sensors that are in the tailpipe, one of them unplugs the same way. It's kind of it's got a locking pin on it, or a locking tab that you're going to have to push. Best way to get to it is from underneath. Now I did the delete on mine, but I decided to go ahead and leave a lot of things stock, at least for the time being, just so I can see how things are going. Now one of the things I did do is I left the stock air box in here, but if you open this up, right here where my finger is, in this black kind of hard plastic thing here, there is a turbo baffle that is removable, and it looks like this. Okay, turn it around. Now from right to left on your screen, you'll see how it is going from up to down in that pipe. Okay, you know, the air will flow through here, and it's open in the middle. You can see in it. This right here is like just like foam, and then this is just hard plastic. I mean, honestly, I can't see what it does other than quiet the turbo down. I can't really see that it's going to push air through in any more efficient manner than it just kind of going through there. It does, when you take it out, the turbo does whistle louder, and that might be what you're going for. But I think at a minimum, just getting it out because of the foam here, because that's going to break down. Mine kind of already started to break down. Especially if you got a high mileage rig, or you're kind of in a dry climate, you may really want to consider getting that thing out of there, just even if you're not deleting or doing anything else. So that's all that piece right there. Now, this section of pipe is what I used, or what I took off. Okay, and I'll start from the back here, and I'll talk about each different piece. Now, that right there is your muffler, but honestly, if you're used to the old Dodges, it's not a real muffler because it's not about 4 or 5 feet long, and honestly, it's straight through. These you probably won't notice if you decide that you want to leave it on for whatever the reason. You probably won't notice a difference in sound. You might. But if you're going to do a straight through exhaust, you might as well just get it off there anyway. It doesn't do anything either way, I don't think. All right, here's your two cans here. Now you got 5 sensors that plug into the vehicle, and then you have 2 pressure sensors here. Now these pressure sensors were probably the most difficult ones to get off because of where they're located, and I'll show you a little bit later. You know, if you have a 6.7 Cummins and you're used to seeing that real clean tailpipe, well, that's the beginning, coming from like right there where the downpipe is. So it's nice and black. And then as you get back to your muffler, nothing. Okay, so the system works somewhat, but I don't think it was ever designed to be a system that was designed to last like the truck was. All right, these pressure sensors here, they've got little squeeze clamps on them. Needle nose pliers, get them off, and I'll show you where they're located. You can just leave them connected to the pipe. All right, your first 2 sensors here are going to be an O2 and a EGT probe right there in the pipe. I cut here on the pipe, and if you look, it's gotten kind of rotted. I think probably with all that extra heat coming for this, it's probably going to rot the pipe right there a whole lot more, a whole lot faster. So you may want to look at yours anyway, as far as like an inspection goes, and kind of look at it and see it might be leaking. Okay, then you've got your downstream EGT here and your downstream O2, and then you have another EGT. Your pressure lines, as you can see them, one of them is going to go right there, and the next one is going to go here to kind of see that the system is working. I don't like the system one bit, just to let you know. Alright. Now, as far as the pipe is concerned, I just left the stock pipe there. I mean, it's a 4-inch pipe. I'm not into big performance right now. I'm going to see how I like this setup, and then I'll start changing it up. But honestly, it was just a matter of speed. So that's where I did the weld here at the back end of the pipe. And it's just basically a piece of straight pipe that goes all the way forward right there. And that's where you're doing it. Now your sensors. As you unplug them, I got one that's hit up in here. Here's another one. You're just unplugging them. You're not having to cut wires. For these, this yellow piece here pulls back out of the sensor, and then you push down on the back end of it. Right there. Okay, now, when I was talking about the EGR earlier, the way that sensor on the back side is very similar to the way this one is. It has this red tab, and it indexes that way when it's locked, and that way when it's unlocked. So you're not going to be able to get it undone unless you got it pushed over. And depending on the climate of your truck or where you live, these things may get a little bit hard to get undone, and they may get rocks and dirt in them. So get some compressed air out and use them, and then you just push down on that thing and it gets it to come undone. Okay, and then there's a couple more of those just like that. They're all along this passenger side here, kind of under this fender. That's where they're at, so you can kind of look at it. Alright, so that's where the weld was made for the pipe, and like I said, it kind of had gotten rotten right about there, so it took me a little bit longer to weld it. I know it looks like shit, but it kept punching holes in it. I didn't have any more pipe. Alright, your pressure lines, if you can see that, I'm going to try to get a little bit more light. Right there in kind of like the center of the camera where you see those two nipples kind of next there to the transmission, right there and there. It's easier to take this one on the right off first and then the left, but if your truck is like mine, my squeeze clamps were, this one was the one to the furthest towards the transmission was indexed this way, and this one was indexed the same way, so it was hard to get to it. So I took off that one first and then that one. I chose to leave the catalytic converter on. For those of you that decide that you want a lot of sound, I'm sure the catalytic converter probably makes the most, probably muffles it the most, but if you look here, it is probably the hardest one to get to unless you're going to do like a turbo back, something like that. But you are probably going to have to take off this cross member down here to get to it. And then there's your exhaust, there's your hanger right there, and I couldn't imagine trying to get that off. I just didn't have the time. I didn't feel like it. But yeah, all in all, this project, I didn't have anybody helping me with it at all. Just people like watching and seeing what I was doing. It took me about 2 hours. Like I said, probably about 20 minutes for the Mini Maxx, because I just had to put the wires away, and then just doing the exhaust. Once I got it up, it was relatively simple. The sensors were probably the hardest part, just getting those things undone, and then dropping the pipe out, welding the other one up, and then trying not to mess up the weld. But if you got any questions or comments, just let me know, and I'll try to answer them as best as I can.